Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel eddieinreadingland. My name is Eddie and today I'm bringing you my favorite depictions of the Justice Card. Okay guys, so let me get started with this, and as always I'm going to have 2 honorable mentions and my 3 top favorite ones for the Justice Card. This time I have noticed with the Justice Cards that I especially pick as my favorites is that I like a Justice card where I've said this before, but I definitely do like a Justice card that has the scales be the main focus of the image instead of Justicia or the woman. I think it's because the Justice card is the Trump of Libra, and I feel like that is a very good symbol right there for justice. Even though it's very traditional, it's super ancient. The ancient had it right. But yeah, so let's get started. The first 2, or the honorable mentions for the Justice card don't align with that description that I just said, but the artists have made a very outside of the box depiction of the Justice cards, and that's why I picked those 2 to as honorable mentions to show you guys, because I feel like both these artists really did something different with the Justice card that I haven't seen, and they both have a different feeling for the Justice. So let me show you what I mean. And as always, I do have my notes because I have to keep it short, but I say that and then I never do. As in any case, the first card is the Justice card from the Monsoon Tarot by Woe Studios, and I am just completely in awe with this Justice card. And not only because, as you guys can see, this Justice card is standing on a, well, I don't believe this is a fountain, but it's definitely looks like a column pedestal or a pedestal. And I love the fact that we have this motif of square, circle, square, circle, square, circle, going from bigger size to a smaller size, and having this being just be the focus and be the center of this pedestal here, or maybe it's a base, maybe it's a fountain base. Whatever it is, I really like the fact that they chose the square and the circle, because people do say that it's impossible to fit a square into a circle, but it is not if you use the right math. I don't know why I'm defending math right now. I do not like math. So, you know what? Let's move on. I don't like math, guys. But as in any case, it feels very justice to me. It feels like justice is perceived as very square and also very rounded at times. And I think that more rounded to do with the law, but instead of justice, I think justice is more square and the law is more rounded. But I love this. I love that, and I love the fact that we have layers to the Justice card, because, and I'm not really sure if the artist was meant to do this, but the Justice card does have layers, and I love reading the Justice card as adjustments that you need to do to move forward. When I'm doing my daily draws, that's exactly what I do. But love the fact that we have this being who's covered in this white veil in the middle of this lake, sea. I'm gonna say it's either a lake or the sea, because we see a boat here, but I'm not really sure if it's a fishing boat. I don't know what a fishing boat looks like, but I don't see any fishermen over here. So it also has a very Greek feeling. This could be Odysseus returning from his voyage. So I really like that. I like Greek and Egyptian themes in the Justice card as well, especially if they use the goddess Maat as the representation of just so perfect. But anyway, moving on. Yes, I do like the fact that the that this being over here is completely veiled. They're veiled from head to toe, and that is a good alternative for the blindfold that Justice usually wears on her eyes. I love that. I really enjoy the fact that I don't know if you guys can see, but the figure does not have a face, and that also aligns pretty well with the Justice, in my opinion. And I also love the fact that this being is also pondering, because I feel like the Justice card is it's a super intellectual card, and sometimes that intelligence and that mental work is not portrayed in the card per se. And the fact that we have this key that is burning and releasing this very glittery smoke, it makes me think that the Justice card is providing you with the key for your balance or for your fair decision. But that decision is only fair objectively because it could be a burning decision for you. It could be it could be the destruction of your world. Justice is like that. Justice is fair. Justice balances, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna like that, right? And I love that. I also really enjoy that, even though we have this burning, this fire, this smoke, this destruction that is happening, or that this scene looks very serene, and it looks very calming. It actually, this that's what it is. This image calms me, which is a feeling that I rarely get from the Justice card. And not because I think anything wrong when I get the Justice card. It's because the Justice card to me is like, okay, let's take action. How do I balance stuff? What do I need to adjust? But this makes me think, okay, let me focus. Let me be calm. Let us think about this a little bit more peacefully. And that's what I like about this card. And not to mention that I also love the brightness of this image. It's just amazing. And I know that this is probably not a pyramid, but I love to think that it is. That is a pyramid over here in the background, and this is a Greek temple over here. But why do I bring this up? Pyramids, to me, they are monuments of energy, of receiving energy and transmitting it back. So that's why I like it. It plays a little into the karmic depiction or karmic influence that the Justice tends to have sometimes on our world. So I like that. I like it very much. Very amazing depiction of the Justice card, even though we don't have any scales. There are no scales in this card. I think that if the artist would have done burning scales and made this a little bigger, I would be so much happier with this image. But again, I didn't make this image, but I love this image. Moving on. The second card that I want to show you as my honorable mention is the Justice card from Terror of the Abyss by the amazing Anatorian. Gods, I love this Justice card. I like that the focus of this card is, you can see it on this person's eye. We see justice here. We see determination. We see focus. We see this very scary, serene calm that this woman is portraying in this image. And it's a very goddess of justice feeling. that I get from this card, and that's why I like it. Even though the scales are super tiny and we're only seeing a reflection of the scales in this woman's eyes, I feel the work. I feel the passion and the serenity that this woman has whilst delivering a verdict, whilst being a judge, whilst providing a decision. And I love how stoic she looks and how probably she will remain once she makes this decision. And whether you like it or not, that is what is fair. That is what is balanced. And it's a very unusual feeling, but it's a very powerful feeling. This woman, this justice card, feels very powerful whilst being passive. And that is remarkable. I have no idea how Anna Turian even conceived to do this justice card, because the amount of energy that she chose to deliver this justice card is just genius. I like it, even though we don't have even though the scales aren't the focus. Actually, I'm wrong. The scales are the focus. It's just that the scales are so minimal that I think that why this is an honorable mention and not in my top 3 is because if I remove this from here, and somebody who is not aware of tarot will not be able to pick up that these are scales, even though they will probably be able to pick up the determination, the focus, and the stoicism on this image, because it's a very powerful feeling. So I think that's the reason why this is an honorable mention and not on my top 3. Well, and also for the fact because I actually like to see the scales on the justice card. I really do. I do like to see those scales. But as in any case, love this. I love this tarot. I believe that it's meant to be a shadow deck, but I work with it not as a shadow deck because this deck is very straightforward. I will talk about that later. It's not about the deck. It's about the justice card. But yes, I will say that when I'm working with this deck on my daily draws and I have gotten this justice card, I immediately know that there's something that I know what that something is that needs to get balanced, and I know that I need to take action at that moment. Oh my god, it's that powerful, that feeling, because I still remember that. And I haven't used this deck for daily draws in about a year now. Wow. Okay. Well, again, it's a very powerful feeling. And I love the dark, the black and white, and the negative space use in this beautiful image. Again, remarkable. But moving on to my top 3, and here we have the Justice card from the Nameless One Tarot by Sia Hunt. And thank you, Sia, for giving us a tarot deck that has the main focus be the scales of Libra for the image. I love this. I love that the scales are even to the front of the sword. Sometimes people get more focused on the sword than they do on the scales, and that is another problem that I have with some Justice cards. Not problem, it's just that I don't really like that. Even though I love to see the sword represent intellectual thought for the Justice card. But yeah, no, this also reminds me of Ma'at, because we have here the heart and the feather, the Ma'at, that you weigh against in Egyptian mythology when you're in the underworld, and whether that determines if you're going to go to a better life or you're gonna get eaten by a really big monster. So yes, I love the stakes in this Justice card. I also love the design of the scales. I mean, the filigree alone here is just exquisite. And not only here in the scales, but also here on the sword. I love that it's different, but you can tell that the scales and the sword work together pretty well. And you know what I also like about this image? We are, even though we don't have a being holding the scales or holding a sword, we still get that feeling from this. It's as if justice is getting ready to pick up the scales and the sword. It's that feeling of I'm about to place a verdict on you, and I'm gonna be holding my tools so that I'm able to deliver this with the most potent symbology and energy that I can. And I just really like this deck as well, guys. I mean, the Nameless Wanderer, you if you saw my video on my review on this, you just saw that I used this deck for Imulk. All throughout Imulk, I used this deck, and it was a total experience, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the deck, guys. Excellent Justice card, definitely top 3. It's good to look at this card and feel like we still have the same feeling for the Justice card that, well, at least that I like to see. And we don't have a being here. We don't need to have a being here for this Justice card to portray the meaning of justice, or to portray the meaning of justice that I like, as in any case. So yes, extremely happy about this Justice card by Sia Hunt. I love the colors. I love the gold and the rose gold on the sword. Amazing. Yeah, no, and love the sigil as well. I don't know if you guys can see this on the foreground. The sigil for justice. And I don't have the book, so I can't read you what the affirmation for the Justice card is. But as in any case, excellent depiction of justice. And the only reason why this is number 3 and not number 2 is because of this justice over here. Let's see if I can. There we go. So this is the Justice card from Terror of the Starbound Fantasia by, what is his name? Let's see, where Justice. How come I forgot his name? Taylor? I'll have the name in the. No, my husband will put the name over here when I say what tarot it is. As in any case, I will also have it on the description down below. But yes, this Justice card, guys, I love that this being is seated on the scales, and I love the fact that the scales here are a tree and a throne and a sort of snake being all at the same time. Just so much symbolism, guys. And I as you guys can see, it's also a very contrasting card. We have a balancing work or balancing act happening in this Justice card. I don't know if you guys can see, but we have a clear starry sky on this side, and we have clouds and no stars on this side. We also have a vase here representing the heart, and we have ostrich feather representing Ma'at. This represents the offering that the person will give. This is also very Egyptian mythology. This is the offering of the heart that the person will give to determine if they're able to go to a better place or if they're going to be devoured by that monster that I was talking about. I don't remember. Sekhmet? Sobek. What was the name of the monster? It doesn't matter. As in any case. I love the snake energy on the Justice card. That makes me think of relating the snake to intelligence and cunning, and that's awesome. Intellectual thought for the Justice card. We also see this being holding the sword, which represents that ultimate decision that they will take when they provide the verdict. Amazing. Love that. I love the fact that the being is black and white, because that is exactly how I perceive justice, being very black and white. Whether you like it or not, that is justice, that is what's fair, that is what this being has decided that is fair, and you are now compelled to accept that. Love, love, love that. Very much like the fact that this being is seated in the throne with the scales, because it makes me think that this being is not only using those tools, but she's living those tools too. It's almost as she's part of those tools, and I really, really enjoy that. Like the symbology of the tree, because trees are so old, and it makes me think of ancient knowledge, and especially knowledge that has been absorbed and can be passed to other people. So I love that as well about this card. And not to mention that we have here the sun and the moon, and I love the dichotomy that the sun and the moon brings to the Justice card. The Justice card is one of those polarizing cards, just like the High Priestess, in my opinion. And I just enjoy that black and white feeling of the Justice card, which is another thing that I feel from the High Priestess, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about justice. And thank you so much for having a rainbow on the throne. Yes, thank you. Again, I don't believe that this was intentional, but I do feel like this being over here is very non-binary, is very sexless. And the fact that they are seated in front of this rainbow just reflects that queerness to me, and I really enjoy that. Really, really like that. So yeah, this is the Justice card from Terror of the Starbound Fantasia by Taylor Ellis. Maybe that's his name, Taylor Ellis. Maybe I have it right, guys. I don't know why I did not write down the name of him on my notes, but anyway, moving on. This is number 2, because my favorite representation of, or depiction of, the Justice card that from the decks that I own is actually Adjustment from the Todd Tarot. Why? Because this is Ma'at, and this is the scales, and this being is also the sword. So to me, this Adjustment card is an embodiment of justice, of the trump of Libra, of intellectual thought, of decisive action, of what a unique choice. Well, and she's obviously also a depiction of the goddess Ma'at. We can see here the ostrich feathers surrounding her, and the equilibrium. The fact that this being is balancing herself here at this point with the sword, it just exacerbates that feeling of balance that the Justice card needs to transmit. It just works out so well for me. There's so much going on in this card that I love. I love the orbs over here in the foreground. To me, and I'm sure that Crowley didn't say that. I haven't read what he said about adjustment, but to me, these are molecules that are expanding from the Justice card, and that feeling of expansion from these very tiny things being portrayed here as these huge orbs is also a very unusual feeling that we rarely get to see from the Justice card. there is no expansion to justice because it is so black and white, in my opinion. And having portraying it here is just so good. And it also makes total sense to me. Justice is expansive in a way that it's very hard for me to explain because it deals more with laws, the law of the land, and how all of us should not be above the law, and everyone should respect the law. That sort of expansion of that idea that justice is absolute and that culture needs to come to a acceptance of, it's very powerful. It's very powerful for me. Culturally, it's really hard for anybody to accept justice. Any of us to accept justice. Sometimes it's going to happen. We're also many different people, but you know, a judgment is a judgment, and I think that judgments are objective when you're delivering them, but they're very subjective when you're having someone else experience that. So yes, I totally got philosophical there on you guys. I don't understand why, but yes. I love that we have the alpha and the omega here. We have a beginning and we have an end to justice that seems very finite, but somehow it humbles justice more, because I think that justice knows that they're yes, she's justice right now, and yes, she is delivering these rulings right now, but there is going to come a time where she will cease to do this, because either one, people will not accept those judgments or that justice, or two, there will be someone else who is better prepared to deliver that judgment or that ruling. I also, again, totally biased to teal, and I'm actually wearing teal right now, and I love it. So you guys know that my favorite color is teal, and this is a very teal card for me. It has so many shades of teal. I love this. And I'm gonna go into math again, but I love the very geometrical feeling that this card has. It feels like justice is not above math. Or actually, maybe the opposite. It just feels like justice is above math. And even though we're enclosing the justice card in this geometry, she's still very present, and she's still she has this expansion going on for her. I love the kaleidoscopic feeling in the background for this card. It also adds to that expansion that I like from this card. So yes, the colors are great. The symbology is amazing. I do differ from what Crowley originally intended for the Justice card. If you do read the Book of Thoth, which, if you want, you can read that book, guys, but Crowley doesn't really go into the meanings of the cards. Not really. He just provides a very long-winded essay on all of the cards, and sometimes he gives some meaning to the card, and sometimes he talks about some of the symbology in the card, but I like when I get to choose that symbology. And yes, I have worked with the Thoth Tarot since the beginning, so this is a very familiar card to me. This is very nostalgic for me. It just makes me smile too. But there you go, guys. Those are my favorite depictions of the Justice card. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know in the comments which ones were your favorites, or actually let me know in the comments which one is your favorite depiction of the Justice card from the decks that you have right now. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I really appreciate it. Bye, YouTube. Okay, so one more video. What time is it? Oh, wow, I'm going really fast. Cool. Going really fast. Going really fast. Going really fast. Let's see. Let me just stop this one. And let's see. Nom, 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 nom. Oh, I don't have to clap again, but I should take some water. Because it's the desert and we stay hungry. God's the electrolytes. Tastes so much better when it's 95 degrees outside or warmer. Hotter. Just it will get hotter from here, guys. Hotter. Hotter. Hot in the desert tonight. No, okay. What am I wearing? Am I wearing the blue ones? Okay, good. Gods, I look good in this. Ugh.